Okay, so I briefly just want to talk about how everybody's journey is different. And by the way, I said this before, but I've been uploading on my other channel called Journey into Highest Potential for like the last 2 years almost. I think about 2 years, and that's why I really haven't been on this channel because I've been uploading to my other channel called Journey into Highest Potential. But that channel I have not been able to upload on it for the last almost a month. And so that's why I've come back over here to just start back uploading some videos. I don't know if I can get into the type of things that I would talk about on that channel. Because that's the reason why I haven't uploaded on this channel in so long, because the content that I moved over to really speaking mostly about is not what I used to talk about on this channel. I want to talk about how about everybody's journey is different. So I haven't heard this kind of content in a while. I've been staying away from it because I don't want to get into those kind of frequencies anymore. And I don't like this kind of content to bring up any kind of emotions like that doesn't do serve me any good. But still trying to get brown women to see things a certain way and to see how their lives are in danger and to see, to see whatever it is that, people feel like they're supposed to be seeing. I want to talk about how everybody's different. And really what probably should be focused on is the evolvement of really you. I want to say your soul, but really you. Because the soul level, a lot of people have not reached the vibration of their real soul level. Now, what people like to call a soul and say evolving your soul, see, this is the kind of stuff I would talk about on my other channel. It's actually a false soul. People consider the soul which to be in the solar plexus, the actual ego, the personality whole part of yourself. People like to consider that's not the soul. That's something that's a creation, that's a character, and that's a false ego. I mean, that's not a false ego. That's a false soul. That's not your original real soul is on a much higher vibration. And to be honest with you, not most people have reached that high of a vibration because you have to switch to a different type of mind for that. You have to be on a different vibration for most people to get to the level of their real soul. Okay? And when I hear people, you have to realize that all people are not the same. Some people come from outside this world. Some people are outside this simulation. Let me call this a simulation. That's what it is. Some people come outside, were created outside of this simulation and was brought into the simulation, and mind have been kind of trapped or trapped in their own illusion. Okay? And some people were created inside the simulation. This is the kind of stuff I would talk about on my other channel. I'm going to slowly get into this kind of talk. The point is, when the main people that you hear talking about the soul, which is the ego, which is your ego is your soul, is who you are, that's a group of people who could have been created inside the simulation. And they are calling it your soul because they themselves need to evolve, not other people who came way before. So in the case of a lot of brown people, and I'm saying a lot because some brown people, they not real either. They counterfeits too. I don't want to call people counterfeits because if you're working on trying to evolve and you're working hard on yourself, I don't want to call you a counterfeit. I think that's mean. No matter if you came before or after the simulation was created and you created inside of it, if you are genuinely trying to work on yourself and you know there's something else, I don't want to just call you a fake. I think you're more real than people who are actually real. Okay? So, but let me just say this. I just briefly, I listened to a person, discuss so-called black women and their refusal to see things for what it is. And I've said this before. I don't think it's a refusal to see things for what it is. I don't think it's because they're asleep. this is the kind of commentary that used to be on this Divine Being, this channel right here. This is the stuff I used to talk about. When I went into my Journey into Highest Potential channel, I stepped away from all that, and I was more into spiritual type of stuff and consciousness and discussing the virtual reality. Not so much worrying about race and all that stuff, because that's low vibrational. That is, you will not evolve like that. If you think you are a part of a race and you see yourself as a race before you see yourself as a soul, that is extremely low vibrational. You're not even a woman first. You're a soul first. You're a soul before you're a woman. You're a soul before you're a woman. So you're not even a woman first. You're a soul first. So don't even see yourself, I'm a woman first. No, you're a soul first. You're not even a woman first. Well, some people might call themselves a spirit first. Some people call themselves spirit because some don't have souls, and I'm not going to criticize that, because like I say, if they're genuinely trying to work on themselves, I'm not one to tear them down. Everybody didn't come with a real soul. And honestly, in this type of simulation, some of us are detached from our real souls, because our real souls are on a much higher vibration, and we have to do some hard-ass work to get back to that. Some of us do. They came before. But anyway, it's not that some certain so-called black women, some of them, it's not that they're all asleep. I said this before. A lot of them are evil. I said this before, and I'm not going to change. I just stopped saying it because I know it ruffles some feathers. It's not even that they're asleep. I think that people might not want to see how wicked some so-called black women are. It don't take that long to wake up. And let me tell you something, that's because they've been through trauma. If I can name all of the things I done been through, and some of the other people I might know what they've been through. Okay, so it's clear that this is the underworld. And I remember saying this in 2021, that this is an underworld. So you're under the real world. You're in underworld. To me means you're in reverse. You're not under an actual real planet, or you're not under what people want to call Earth here. And no, because I realize I'm in a simulation. I came from my real world into this simulation. I'm in reverse. Okay, I'm in reverse. That's what I call an underworld. And when you're in reverse, you see things the total opposite of the real world, and everything is backwards. That's why you got all this stuff that's being pushed on folks, all this crazy stuff, being pushed on folks. Everything is in reverse. That's what I call an underworld. Okay, and it's just that most black women, because I think people don't realize that a lot of them are from the underworld. They don't come from anywhere else. A lot of the so-called black women that we see come from the underworld. Okay, and that's not a bad thing. Everybody that come from the underworld don't have to be terrible people. Okay, because I know some that do, and they not terrible people. Okay, and but for the most part, for the most part, I think what the hard thing is to see that they are evil. I think what's missing is to just consider the fact that they are just evil, and the reason why so many children can die, so many things can happen to little girls, so many things can happen to little boys, so many things can happen. They can watch over and over and over again. Other women get attacked. And okay, well, black women don't like each other. Yeah, but then they see other black men get attacked in the communities. They see them getting shot down left and right in gang violence, and that still doesn't move them. I mean, they might want to get out and act like they fighting the power, but they're not really. I don't think they deeply care like that. Okay? I think it's hard to see that they're not opening their eyes because a lot of them are just evil. Okay? And I don't mean that to be judgmental. I don't mean that to be judgmental. Okay? I really don't. It's just what I've seen in other dimensions, what I have dealt with and what we are dealing with. So this is not me being upset at any particular brown woman. It's just what is kind of the truth here. Okay? From my experience and watching other people who are not, that's not who they are by nature, they might go through something for a little while, and you never know how long people are supposed to go through things before they wake up. I get that. But I think you got to understand that all brown women ain't good. All brown women are not good. And they can't wake up out of it, because let me tell you something. It's not meant for them to move. It's not meant for some of them to move ahead. It's not meant for some of them to move ahead. Okay? Because that particular energy in some of those brown women were something before they looked like what they were today. They were something. And the fact that it's hard for them to just even have some kind of an open mind is probably because they're not supposed to have an open mind. The fact that they can't see what's around them, they can see it, they're refusing to acknowledge it, because then they'll have to admit that they created it. They helped to create it, and a lot of them don't want to admit that. I feel like a lot of people in the brown community, period, just enjoy chaos. They just enjoy chaos. I'm not against chaos, but even people who like chaos still have some kind of balance to themselves. I think that if it was real order in the brown community, and I guess people keep complaining about this protection from brown men, if that really occurred in the brown community, I think there would be pushback, and I think you will see that the problem have pretty much always been that a lot of brown women, I'm going to say a lot of brown women, because I think people are not aware of what kind of energies that you're dealing with when you're dealing with brown women. I don't think they are aware of what kind of energies they're really dealing with. Okay? You really don't know who they are and what's working in them. Okay? And so, yeah. I want to go a little deeper with that. A lot of stuff that's going on with brown people in general, I'm going to say this, it has a lot to do with their ancestors. The twisted nature, I mean, we can talk about the system, we can talk about the CIA, we can talk about the government, all this stuff. But the twisted stuff that goes on with brown people in general, it has a lot to do with ancestors, and it has a lot to do with bloodlines. It's just a reason. This stuff has to do with generational curses that you see with the brown community. Okay? Something has happened in a lot of these bloodlines, and a lot of these ancestors, and a lot of these people, their generations, in their bloodlines. Something has happened way back, and they have done nothing to correct it. And so people are going to talk until they're blue in the face, trying to get brown women to see stuff, trying to get brown men to see stuff. They're going to talk until they are blue in the face. But the fact of the matter is, I think that a lot of brown people are the way they are is because of ancestors, a lot of their ancestors. Okay? Some people just need to cut away from their blood, like their ancestors. Some of them just really need to cut ties from them. So a lot of people in the brown community have some very, very nasty, evil ancestors. They've done some wicked deeds that landed them in this type of situation that they are right now. Made some bad decisions that landed them in the situation that they are right now. And what has happened is, instead of encouraging brown people to resolve that, brown people are told to go into all these different types of religions other than just Christianity. They're told to go into all these other different practices that has nothing to do with resolving the issues that started with their ancestors, their real ancestors. And in order to do that, you got to work on yourself. You got to know who you really are. You got to do the work on yourself. And really, the more work you do on yourself, that's the more you break the generational curses. Because you're elevating to a higher, you're elevating to a higher type of mind. And you kind of break generational curses like that too. But yeah, I said a little more than I thought I was gonna say. Yeah, everybody's journey. I've been stuck trying to get a certain group of people to see things the way I see it, because that's not the way it goes. Everybody has their own destiny. Everybody has their own journey. And because a group of brown people or a group of brown men or brown women want to keep using this term we, then that makes you feel like most brown women have to think the same as you. See, what happens is people have been divided according to color, culture, and all that stuff. You have a lot of division. You have a lot of division among this consciousness. It's a lot of division. And so, no, a lot of those brown women, they don't have to wake up. And you don't have to be connected to them. Because that is not what this is. You should not be separated according to color. Because really, your soul group or your soul tribe might not be all brown skin. Okay? So that's a trick to me, to feel like because somebody shares your complexion or they share your culture, that we are the same. Oh, we brown women, or we brown men, or we black women, Well, no, there's no we black women. That's not how that goes. We're not divided by color. That's not how that works. And so that's why I'm not into just saying, well, the black women need to, then black women, no. They're doing exactly, I guess, what they're supposed to be doing. And everybody has their own journey. Okay? Those brown women or those black women that you're trying to call yourself waking up are not even an actual part of your soul group or your soul tribe. Okay? Who are they? Okay? So, yeah, all this division by white, black, Hispanic, all this stuff, that's a bunch of division by culture, okay? And it shouldn't be like that. Really, there should be no division. But in a reverse world, it's going to be division. It can't help but to be division in a reverse world, because it's a lot of different mixed ways of thinking. Yeah. Honestly, in order to I'm aware that I have been in a larger consciousness system, which you would call a virtual reality or a computer. And really, everybody should move as one. Everybody should move as one. In order for a world to be on a more positive type of vibration or higher vibration, people have to move as one. And so what you have seen with the media and with all these people, especially in the United States of America, what you have seen is that they are trying to get people to move as one in the opposite direction, in a way that they want to pull people in. That's why certain people who have a different opinion, they are shut down. Their YouTube pages are shut down. Okay, they don't get as many views. Okay, people who look at their channel don't get alerts, because they are aware of the larger consciousness system, and they are aware, in order to achieve a goal that they want, to create a world that they want, they have to make sure that everybody's on the same accord and everybody is agreeing, and that causes them to move as one. And when people are when they're able to take a majority of people in a direction they want to take them in, then you're able to create realities. You're able to create whatever matrix they want to create and whatever timelines they want to create, because they were able to get a majority of people to agree on the type of narrative they want them to agree on. And so really nobody should be divided, honestly. Nobody should be divided. Okay? But I'm going to end. Everybody's not meant to move forward. Everybody, it's not in every brown woman's destiny to move forward. Some of them, they probably seem like they can't see things for what it is. Is because they're probably not meant to. And I think they do see things for what it is. But I think what's missing is that they know they are a big part of what's going on. They know they are a big part of it. And they don't want to admit that, well, I can't really move on and change because I am a big part of this problem. And moving on, if 75 to 80% of brown women moved on like a lot of brown women did, you would eliminate a big part of the problem. You know? Because here, let me tell you this. And men know this. I've heard men say this. They cannot, they can't survive without that type of feminine energy and protection that comes from women, and that's just any group right there. So you're really seeing that they are a big part of the problem. They have been a big part of protection for other groups of people. Brown women have been a protection for other groups of people, purposely being this other group of people being their protection. Okay? Anyway, that's all I want to say is that everybody's journey is different, and it's just, if you see a majority of women after talking for this long and you see that majority of them still want to continue in the same ways, that lets you know that they're not meant to move forward. They're just not meant to move forward. They are meant, they are meant to come to an end. I don't know how else to put that. They are meant to come to an end. Eventually, the bloodlines will completely come to an end. So they cannot wake up. They cannot see what other people are trying to get them to see, because they are not meant to move forward. Okay? They're not meant to move forward. Something that will probably ever be on YouTube, because it will never be allowed, is what happened when there was only women. What happened when it was only women, females? They weren't called women. Let me say, women was called women in this patriarchy. In this particular patriarchy now. They weren't called women. There was a time when there was only female. And that was under a whole completely different vibration, a much higher frequency. And they were only birthing themselves, okay? They were only giving birth to other females. They can only birth themselves. I don't know what happened. Something came in to disturb that, and they were no longer able to give birth to other females the way they used to. So that tells me right now that they fell in frequency. To get to a point where you can no longer give birth to yourselves, mean that you fell in frequency. They fell in frequency. And then they ended up, in order to replicate themselves so they wouldn't completely die out, they had to mate with the male. So I think a lot of brown women might want to ask themselves, what happened? I think that's something that would never, ever, anybody would ever talk about on YouTube. And I rarely hear anybody talk about that ever. But I think what brown women need to ask themselves is, what happened? What happened? A lot of them can't even get to that point. I can't even have that conversation with a lot of people, period. But especially a lot of brown women. Because honestly, I can have this conversation with Asian women, and I can have this conversation with white women. But when a group of women it's hard to have this conversation with other brown women. That's because they have a spell of sleep on them. But all brown women don't come from that type of ancient type of world anyway. Some brown women came after that anyway. But still, something happened, because there was a system of matriarchy that was overturned. And I think brown women might want to look into what happened. What happened? okay? And something happened to the point where these brown women currently have this spell of sleep on them, and they can't seem to come out of it. And at this point in time, and not necessarily the Gregorian calendar, I'm talking about spirit time, they're not being allowed to wake up. They're not being allowed to move forward because their bloodlines, they've been cut off. Their bloodlines have been cut off. So, yeah, because the conversation is just never going to be had of what really happened. That conversation don't seem to ever is ever going to be had. But anyway, that's it, and I'll talk later.